Hey, beautiful soul, especially you. Have you ever felt that bizarre tug of war within you, that sudden knot in your stomach when the doorbell rings, even though you adore the person on the other side? It's that familiar, almost shameful discomfort, an inexplicable urge to simply not open the door. You're not angry at the world, not rude, and you certainly don't hate people. In fact, you might even be a wonderfully loving friend or partner. But deep down, you cherish your quiet sanctuary, your undisturbed peace, and your perfectly preserved energy above almost anything else. If this resonates with your very core, darling, then listen closely, because this video is about to unlock a profound secret that countless women silently carry. This isn't a flaw, sweet friend, it's a sign. And by the end of this, you'll not only understand why, but you'll realize this hidden truth about yourself is far more valuable than you could ever imagine. You absolutely do not want to miss this, because what you learn here will transform how you see yourself, your home, and your most intimate needs forever. Let's dive in. You might often wonder why some people thrive during social gatherings, parties, and impromptu visits, while you, on the other hand, feel completely drained just at the mere thought of having guests. Perhaps you enjoy conversations and have strong relationships, but the moment someone wants to enter your private home, something within you recoils. It's almost as if the simple presence of another person instantly begins to exhaust your precious energy. There's a powerful explanation for this feeling, rooted in the groundbreaking work of Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists of the 20th century. Jung was the first to popularize two now widely understood terms, introverted and extroverted. But be warned, he wasn't merely talking about shyness versus sociability. Jung's concepts delved much deeper into the very movement of our psychic energy. An extrovert directs their energy outward, finding nourishment and replenishment through external contact and stimulation. The outside world literally gives them strength. An introvert, however, functions in almost the opposite way. They recharge their energy from within, drawing strength from silence, introspection, and solitude. When an introvert is overly exposed to external stimuli, long conversations, unexpected visitors, noise, or constant interruptions, their mind naturally begins to shut down. This isn't out of arrogance or spite, but rather a profound psychological necessity. This distinction is the absolute key. Not liking to receive visitors is not a social deficit. It is a direct expression of how your unique energy system is structured. If you lean more towards introversion, and many people do without ever fully realizing it, then your home is far more than just a physical structure. It is a sacred space, a protective cocoon, a vital place where your energy reorganizes itself, and where your psyche finds its essential balance. When someone enters that space, even with the best intentions, they inadvertently touch the invisible threads of your being that you've been carefully sorting out all day. The mere presence of another person compels you to activate your persona, your social mask, which inevitably pulls you away from your true, authentic self. And you know what? That process is deeply, fundamentally exhausting. Jung taught that introversion is not a conscious choice, but an inherent disposition of your soul. So when you try to fight against this powerful inner impulse, it only leads to more inner conflict, exhaustion, and discontent. Some people might dismiss this feeling, saying, "Oh, they're just so reserved, they don't like company." But what many fail to see is this. What appears as coldness or disinterest is very often a form of profound self-protection, a psychological shield, an invisible boundary erected by the unconscious mind to guard your inner world. This complex internal process is something Carl Jung referred to as the shadow. Your shadow is a vital part of you that you may not even fully comprehend, but it is always there, quiet, hidden, yet profoundly governing your deepest feelings, your strongest reactions, and your most uncomfortable emotions. When someone enters your home, you're not merely opening a physical door. You are unconsciously inviting them into a sacred space where your energy is at its purest, but also at its most vulnerable. This is precisely where the shadow can begin to act. The shadow doesn't just contain darkness, it holds everything you've suppressed for various reasons, aspects of your personality you felt compelled to hide, old fears, unresolved memories, unspoken wounds. Imagine this. The doorbell rings, you sit down with a guest, start talking, and instead of relaxing, you feel a growing unease inside. A strange discomfort rises, and sometimes you can't even pinpoint why. The truth is, the presence of that person, their voice, their way of being, might unconsciously touch a blind spot in your psyche, something you haven't yet dared to look at, something that profoundly lives in your shadow. This is why Jung famously said, "What you do not bring into consciousness will appear in your life as fate." Sometimes that fate manifests as social discomfort, a seemingly harmless visit that suddenly stirs up irritation, a distinct sense of invasion, an almost physical urge to ask the person to leave. It's not arrogance. It's your unconscious mind fiercely trying to protect your inner integrity. The shadow also holds immense hidden potential, abilities, talents, and profound truths you haven't yet had the courage to embrace. The more you live superficially, adapt constantly, stay overly polite, and force social interactions, the less room your precious soul has to truly breathe and evolve. So if you feel an overwhelming need to be alone, if the thought of visitors feels suffocating, your shadow might be whispering to you, "Hey, listen, you need silence, you need space, you need yourself." And hearing that whisper, sweet sister, that is an act of profound courage. Do you know that feeling of immense relief when you finally come home after a long, exhausting day? The door closes behind you, you kick off your shoes, take a deep, liberating breath, and you just are. In Jungian psychology, your home is far more than just a physical place. It is a powerful symbol of your soul itself. It directly reflects your inner state. When someone enters that space, they are not just stepping into your living room. They are symbolically entering your most sacred inner territory. Jung believed that symbols communicate more about us than words ever could, and the house is one of the most potent symbols of the psyche. It represents the self, the very core of your being, where everything finds balance, where true healing happens. Each room in your home can symbolize an aspect of your personality: your bedroom, your intimacy, your living room, your social mask, your kitchen, your emotional nourishment, the basement, your unconscious, the attic, your higher thoughts, and that front door. It is the very boundary between you and the rest of the world. When someone crosses that intimate threshold, your unconscious mind senses that something from the outside is entering your sacred domain. It's not just a physical presence, it's a foreign energy charged with other people's thoughts, stories, and tensions. And if you are a sensitive, introverted person, or if you are diligently on the path of individuation, the process of becoming your truest, most authentic self, this can be incredibly, almost unbearably exhausting. For Jung, the house was never meant to be merely a defensive wall against the world. It was a deeply personal inner mirror. If you feel profoundly at peace in your home, it suggests that something inside you is also deeply in order. But if you feel that visits disturb your calm, change the entire atmosphere, or shatter your precious silence, then perhaps it is your unconscious mind gently whispering to you, "This soul is still under construction. I'm not yet ready to open all the doors." And that, my dear, is perfectly, wonderfully okay. Protecting your home is ultimately protecting yourself. In-depth psychology, respecting your deeply personal boundaries is a central, non-negotiable step toward true healing and integration. So, if you've ever felt a pang of guilt for not wanting to receive visitors, for preferring to be alone, now you know. You are not isolating yourself. You are honoring the temple where your sacred soul truly resides. Have you ever put on a polite smile while deep down all you wanted was quiet? Made coffee, engaged in forced small talk, and acted friendly and available while secretly agonizing, when, oh when, will this visit finally end? It sounds harsh, doesn't it? You might even feel ungrateful or secretly heartless, but don't worry. Carl Jung helps us understand exactly what is happening within us. Jung called it the persona, the intricate mask we wear to present ourselves to the world. It is our social role, the version of ourselves that expertly adapts to work, to family expectations, to relationships, and even to a simple visit from friends. The persona isn't necessarily false, but it is inherently limited. It's not your whole soul, merely a fragment, usually the most socially acceptable one. The problem truly begins when you feel compelled to wear this mask in your own home, the very place where you should feel completely free to be your true, authentic self. For individuals with a particularly strong or demanded persona, and this often includes many introverted, sensitive, and highly observant women, a visit can be extremely draining. Suddenly, you have to perform, choose your words carefully, control your facial expressions, keep track of the conversation's flow, perhaps even think about the dishes in the sink, or if the light is too bright or too dim, All of that consumes immense psychic energy, a lot of it. Jung eloquently stated, "The persona is necessary. It helps us function effectively in society. But when we mistake the persona for our true self, the soul begins to cry out." Perhaps that's why you feel such a strong inner resistance to visits. It's not about disliking people. It's about feeling profoundly forced to pretend, to uphold a socially acceptable image, even when all you truly desire is peace, to be barefoot in silence, simply gazing out your window. And do you know what's even worse? Many people spend years, even decades, wearing their persona, even at home. They welcome guests, make an immense effort, smile through it, and are internally completely exhausted, irritated, and deeply drained. But here comes a truly liberating truth. Profoundly grounded in depth psychology, you have an inherent right to be completely and authentically yourself in your own space. You are absolutely allowed to say no to visits. You are allowed to decline invitations. You are allowed to simply be unavailable, because while you are constantly trying to please others, you are fundamentally abandoning yourself. There are profound moments when you simply want to be alone. Not out of drama or sadness, but because your soul is urgently calling for silence. In such moments, many people feel strange, even antisocial. After all, we live in a culture that often celebrates those who are constantly surrounded by people, loud, active, perpetually present. But Carl Jung viewed this differently. For him, the powerful impulse to withdraw was very often the auspicious beginning of one of life's most important journeys, the path of individuation. Individuation means becoming who you were truly born to be, not what society expects of you, not what your parents projected onto you, not even the carefully constructed persona you've adopted, but your authentic, true self with all your light and shadow, your conscious and unconscious aspects, your essence and your truth. And this profound process doesn't unfold amidst noise. It flourishes in silence, in retreat, in periods of thoughtful pause. That's why discomfort with visitors isn't merely laziness or emotional instability. It is your very soul attempting to protect you, gently keeping you away from distractions so you can truly hear what is being whispered deep within you. There is something vital inside you that desperately wants to surface, to be seen, to be heard. But for that to happen, you desperately need time alone. Jung said it clearly. Loneliness does not come from having no people around, but from being unable to express what truly matters to you. And what could be more important than deeply listening to yourself? But how can that truly happen amidst commotion, with a guest who won't leave, in conversations that barely touch the surface of your soul? The truth is, some phases of life profoundly demand conscious isolation, not as an escape, but as an essential immersion. You don't withdraw to disappear. You withdraw to return fully, clearer, stronger, and more vibrantly yourself. While the outside world ceaselessly demands your attention with parties, social obligations, and constant presence, your inner world is asking for something entirely different. Stay a moment longer. Don't open the door yet. Take care of yourself first. Perhaps you've already felt it while listening to these words, that strange, almost overwhelming feeling of relief, that quiet, deep calm that washes over you when someone finally articulates something you felt for a very long time but could never quite explain. And yes, please believe it, my dear, this profound discomfort with visitors, this almost physical unease you've long perceived as a personal flaw, is actually a beautiful reflection of something much deeper and more significant within you. If Carl Jung were sitting beside you right now, with his calm, penetrating gaze, he might softly say, "You are not wrong for wanting to be alone. You are simply listening to the precious voice of your soul." And that, my dear, is a rare and truly beautiful thing. So, let me now share with you 6 deep, true human insights from Jungian psychology about individuals who deeply prefer to be alone, especially in the sacred space of their own homes. First, you are likely far more sensitive to the energy of spaces and people than you realize. Jung taught that the unconscious perceives what the conscious mind misses, and some people, especially sensitive women, are exceptionally attuned to the psychic field of others. The nuanced voice, the fleeting gaze, the underlying silence, the unspoken tensions, all of that profoundly affects you. When someone enters your home, they don't just bring their body, they bring their unique energy, their unresolved emotions, their personal stories, their day's burdens. And you, sensitive soul, you feel that as a palpable heaviness, as an inner restlessness, and it is undeniably exhausting. Second, your psyche desperately needs space. Jung understood introversion as a natural, essential necessity to bring vital order to the soul. Time alone, spent in silence, helps your mind realign, integrate experiences, and find its center. A single, unexpected visit can profoundly disrupt this fragile, delicate balance. What others might mistakenly perceive as laziness or unfriendliness is, in truth, your system gasping for the spiritual air it needs to thrive. Third, constant social interaction can subtly alienate you from yourself. Jung believed that your true self can only truly emerge and flourish in inner stillness. Endless polite conversations, the pressure for constant presence, the expectation of unrelenting friendliness, all of that can slowly distance you from your innermost being. It's not that you dislike people, it's that to genuinely be with others, you often feel you must temporarily set your true self aside, and that creates an inner void. Fourth, the mere presence of another person can activate your shadow. The shadow, Jung's profound term for everything we have suppressed, memories, traumas, undesirable aspects of our personality, can be triggered by external contact. Sometimes, all it takes is a casual remark from a visitor, and suddenly you feel inexplicably restless or intensely irritated. It's not always about the specific person, it's about what their presence unconsciously triggers within you, a part of your psyche that has not yet been fully integrated or acknowledged. Fifth, this powerful desire for withdrawal you sometimes feel may very well be the sacred beginning of something immense, your profound process of individuation. Jung explained that individuation means courageously becoming who you truly are, and that sacred path truly begins the moment you cease trying to desperately please the world, and instead, you begin to profoundly listen to yourself. It's when you courageously realize you need time, silence, and distance, not to escape life, but to engage with it more deeply, more honestly, and with absolute authenticity. And finally, the sixth truth. You are finally, powerfully learning to listen to yourself. You are learning to utter the liberating word no without guilt. You are learning to gently close your door without a bad conscience. You are learning to fiercely respect your personal boundaries without feeling rude or inconsiderate. Because every single time you force yourself to be kind when you genuinely don't want to be, every forced smile, every gesture you give without the authentic energy to back it up, you are abandoning your precious self to fit into someone else's world. And you have realized in your beautiful heart that you can no longer live like that. It is profoundly time to honor your exquisite soul. Picture, if you will, an old man with a long white beard, holding a glowing lantern in his hand, walking entirely alone through the quiet darkness of the night on a solitary path. This is the classic, timeless image of the hermit, an ancient, potent figure with deep meaning in Jungian psychology. Jung taught that the hermit is an archetype, a primordial image, a universal energy that profoundly lives within each of us, even if we don't always fully recognize or consciously embody it. But what, you might ask, does this ancient figure have to do with you? Your profound desire not to receive visitors and to be perfectly alone in your sacred home? A tremendous amount, my dear. The hermit archetype beautifully symbolizes the inner call for withdrawal, for profound wisdom, and for radical self-knowledge. It is the very impulse that compels you to close your door and switch off your phone, not to escape the world, but to hear the invaluable whispers of what is truly unfolding inside of you. The hermit lives in silence because he intrinsically knows that only in stillness does the brightest, most illuminating light truly appear. This powerful archetype does not represent empty loneliness or pathological isolation. Instead, it embodies the immense courage to look deeply inward, to bravely face one's own shadows, doubts, and fears, and in doing so, to ultimately discover one's unique inner light. No one else can bestow this light upon you, only you can find it. And to embark on this quest, the hermit needs a sacred space. Often, that space is your very own home, your cherished retreat. If you feel that almost irresistible desire not to host guests, to remain wrapped in quiet solitude, then it may be your powerful inner hermit calling out to you. He asks you to slow down, not to lose yourself in the relentless noise of the outer world, but to reconnect with your authentic core being. Jung believed that answering this call is absolutely essential for mental, emotional, and spiritual health. And you know what else, sweet friend? following the path of the hermit is also an extraordinary act of gentle resistance against the frantic, overwhelming pace of the world, against superficial relationships, and against the constant, draining pressure to be endlessly available and social. It is, at its heart, a profound act of self-love and soul care. So, the next time someone asks you why you prefer to be alone or don't want visitors, remember the hermit within you. He stands there, with his steadfast lantern, showing you that true light is born only after you've courageously entered your own inner darkness, and it is completely, gloriously okay to need silence to find yourself again. Have you ever truly noticed how profoundly powerful deep solitude can be when it is consciously embraced? It's not just about the act of being alone, but what transformative work you choose to do with that solitude. For Jung, the hermit was never a sad figure, nor a social failure. He is instead a wise guardian of profound inner wisdom. When you wholeheartedly follow the hermit's call, your periods of solitude begin to gracefully transform into a journey of immense growth and self-discovery. In that quiet, sacred space, you find answers that the ceaseless noise of the world has long drowned out. There, you bravely allow yourself to feel, to deeply think, and to reflect without rush or external pressure. And in that allowing, your soul truly begins to heal. You learn to recognize recurring patterns, to courageously integrate your shadows, and to powerfully discover parts of yourself that have long been hidden beneath the surface. And more than that, you begin to develop a quiet, unshakable strength and an inner confidence that doesn't rely on any external validation whatsoever. For many, this path is undeniably challenging because the world out there relentlessly celebrates constant doing, ceaseless networking, and endless social activity. But the hermit gently reminds us that to truly be there for the world, you must first and foremost be profoundly there for yourself. That, my dear, is the invaluable wisdom of solitude. So, if you choose to decline a visit, if you strongly prefer to be alone, you are not closing yourself off from life. You are actually preparing inwardly to meet others later in a more authentic, deeply connected, and genuinely meaningful way. First with yourself, and then, in due time, with others. The hermit invites you to embark on this beautiful, deep transformation. And if you feel that quiet inner call, then you are most certainly on the right, most authentic path for you. Now that you've intimately come to know the hermit within you, an important question naturally arises. How do you gracefully find the delicate balance between your intense desire for solitude and your equally valid need for genuine human connection? Jung profoundly taught that a healthy, balanced life does not mean denying the social aspect of yourself or completely isolating yourself from others. Rather, it means consciously establishing an ongoing, honest dialogue between both essential aspects of your being. The hermit unequivocally calls for silence, for withdrawal, for deep introspection. The outer world, in contrast, often demands engagement, activity, and participation. The true art, then, lies in fiercely respecting your internal boundaries without entirely shutting yourself off, and in absolutely not forcing yourself into social interactions when you are not internally, psychically ready. It is a daily practice of profound listening to your inner self and of clear, gentle communication with the outer world. You can consciously create rituals that protect your precious quiet time, such as dedicated reading hours, a solitary walk in nature, or a morning routine crafted specifically just for you. Simultaneously, you can choose intentional moments to connect with people who truly nourish your spirit, who deeply understand you, and who respectfully honor your personal space and your unique energetic needs. This balance, we acknowledge, isn't always easy at first, but it is ultimately profoundly liberating. And most importantly, darling, you don't have to justify it to anyone. You owe no explanation to anyone except your truest self. Society may not fully understand it or even approve, but your soul inherently knows exactly what it truly needs. And Jung wisely said, individuation means becoming true to yourself even when the world demands otherwise. So, courageously allow yourself this path. Honor the hermit that deeply resides within you, and at the same time, carefully cultivate those genuine, soul-nourishing connections that replenish your spirit instead of depleting it. Then, loneliness no longer becomes a burden, but a sacred, expansive space for profound renewal. We understand deeply that maintaining this delicate balance isn't easy in our bustling world. The world is loud, constantly full of expectations, and that often harsh inner voice sometimes judges you for simply wanting to be alone. But hear this profound truth. Respecting your boundaries is not selfishness. It is, in fact, an act of profound self-love and essential self-care. First, learn to meticulously recognize your inner signals. Is your body tired and heavy? Is your mind scattered and restless? Is your mood irritable and sensitive? These are all clear, vital signs that your intricate system desperately needs a break. When you notice these signals, lovingly allow yourself to slow down, even if it means gently canceling plans or simply turning off your phone. Second, communicate clearly, but without excessive justification. You do not have to explain or over-apologize for everything. A simple, firm, "I'm staying home today, I truly need some time for myself," is more than enough. People who genuinely love and respect you will understand without question. And those who don't? Well, that's an entirely different story for another day. Third, create a sacred space, consciously and lovingly. It could be a cozy spot in your home, a favorite, secluded bench in the park, or a special morning routine solely for yourself. In this sacred space, you reconnect with your innermost being. There, your inner hermit feels utterly safe, protected, and free. And finally, dear one, be gentle with yourself. Do not expect yourself to always function optimally or to be socially on all the time. You are beautifully allowed to simply be with yourself, exactly as you are. Honoring your deep longing for solitude means profoundly honoring your soul. It is your unique path to becoming whole, just as Carl Jung so wisely taught. Perhaps now, as we reach the end of this journey together, you feel that something profound has been touched within you, something deep, resonant, and undeniably true. And that, my dear, is the great, undeniable beauty of Jung's timeless work, the exquisite uniqueness of every single soul. There is truly no right or wrong way to be. There is only your way. And if your way means choosing to stay home, nestled away from visitors and the world's constant noise, that does not make you strange, flawed, or any less lovable. Jung gently reminds us that individuation, the beautiful and often challenging process of becoming whole, also means bravely embracing all parts of ourselves, even those aspects that society doesn't always overtly value or understand. So when you respectfully honor your profound longing for retreat and solitude, you are, in essence, honoring an essential, vital part of your magnificent soul. You do not need to contort yourself into external molds to find happiness or fulfillment. Your home, your sacred silence, your cherished solitude, these are all sacred spaces where your precious soul renews itself, recharges, and gloriously grows.